Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 10 of the spring semester, and our seventh Severe Weather Club meeting of the spring 2021 semester. How's everyone doing? Standard question. Has anyone else been really busy? I've been super busy the past couple of weeks, and I got midterms coming up.
All you undergrads.
I know you're a grad student. You probably have it way worse than all of us combined, but
No,
yeah,
it's
it's just
actually
getting
grad
that time
school
of
is way
semester.
easier, so it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I'll go ahead and share my screen here and we can get started with the meeting. All right, you guys should be able to see it. Last night we actually had a little bit of storms come through. Dr. Fitch actually turned on the live stream for the radar. It's still going. There's not much to see really though. Um, I know there wasn't really too much that happened around here. There were a couple of really small isolated tornadoes to our west, I believe. Nothing too major, but as we probably do know is that today and into tomorrow, we do have a lot of severe weather coming up, particularly to our south. This is the convective outlook for today. It's actually changed since I looked at it this morning. I think this morning there was just a slight chance they've turned that into an enhanced region down there. But yeah, got some severe storms. I don't know if any have happened yet. I'm looking at the storm reports here, and it looks like outside of some isolated hail reports, nothing too much yet. I think there are some going to be some severe storms later this evening and into tomorrow as well, obviously. If we looked at the day two convective outlook, though, we can see that things are really going to ramp up. As you can see right here, this big patch of red, that moderate zone of severe weather. Unfortunately, this is in the exact same place pretty much as that high risk zone last week. And so you never want to see, two regions or one region getting hit by two, pretty substantial severe weather outbreaks right in a row. But that looks like that's probably what's going to happen here tomorrow. Additionally, I was reading the mesoscale discussion. They said that they might have to upgrade it to a high risk zone, depending on how the variables stack up in the coming model runs. But yeah, another moderate area here. These storms are going to be associated with a short wave moving from the lower Mississippi Valley tomorrow morning up northeast towards the Great Lakes into tomorrow night. And of course, that's exactly what we see here. The severe storms are concentrated in the lower Mississippi Valley, going up into the Great Lakes. I'll bring you on to pivotal weather here. We can see exactly what's going on. Let's see, models. Change this to a forecast loop. One of the first things I want to look at here is, if it ever loads, of course, we'll look at 850 millibar winds. Come on, computer. So yeah, if we advance forward here into tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening, what you'll see right here is in the morning, right at around 850 millibars, there's going to be a developing low-level jet here. As we know, low-level jets, they function to bring that warm, moist Gulf air up north, and so there's going to be plenty of moisture in the lower Mississippi Valley and into the Ohio River Valley basins, and so there's going to be plenty of water available for the severe storms. Additionally, there's already going to be just high surface dew points in the lower Mississippi Valley, so there's going to be plenty of moisture. And in fact, we can see that if we look at precipitable water here, or not P-watt anomaly. I want to specifically precipitable water. That's not important. Basically, there's going to be a lot of moisture associated with this event, so plenty of moisture available for the storms. Here it is. Oh my goodness, internet is slow today in Tilden Hall. Yeah, if we advance forward into tomorrow, you can see all that moisture. It's going to be infected northward via that low-level jet into that region. And so you can see very high amounts of precipitable water, almost 2 inches in some places. So yeah, we can also look at some severe weather-related parameters here. This is going to be surface CAPE, and as you'll see, as we look into tomorrow afternoon down in that lower Mississippi Valley, there's going to be quite a bit of CAPE in some of these regions, between 1,500 and 2,000 in some places. Actually, in some places, even well over 2,000. Let's get a sounding here, and we can see exactly what's going on. So as you can see, here's that parcel line versus the temperature line. So you got a lot of CAPE associated with this here. Additionally, this sounding doesn't show it very well, but there is going to be a pretty sizable amount of veering of the winds with height. That, of course, along with speed shear, is one of the characteristics that helps contribute to the development of that mesocyclone, that rotating updraft, which is, of course, the predominant characteristic that characterizes supercells. So yeah, plenty of CAPE in this sounding. Let's see if we can get a little different sounding, more in that moderate zone. So yeah, here you can see a little bit more of that veering with heights. I'm not sure how to read hodographs. Anthony, do you know what exactly this hodograph would indicate for storms that develop in this environment?
What you really want to see is that that red line there. You want to see that curve. So that's indicating that there's a lot of winds, basically turning with height, and it's going to be discrete supercell environments down there. The longer looping hodograph, typically the better wind shear is in that environment, and if they're looping like that, then your storm chasers are going to have some fun, but the communities down there will not have some fun.
Yeah,
Typically, and there's a whole lot of other details that go into the upper layers of the hodograph. If you actually bring this back down, the right moving, bring it back down to 0, 0, and you can basically tell how the supercell is going to look based off of those the blue bars, yellow bars, on which quadrant on this hodograph it's in. We can actually tell if it's going to be a beautiful supercell or if it's going to be really messy. By the looks of this one, it's going to be pretty messy because you really want that blue and the yellow line to be in that that left top quadrant of this hodograph to be clear of rain, and then it'll be pretty to look at. But whenever they cross into that top right quadrant, that's when things get a little bit more messy. And there's actually studies that just came out about that too. So. Which is really nice. But there's a whole lot more that goes into it, but I won't dig into that today.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, hodographs can tell you quite a bit about the behavior of storms that develop in this kind of environment. I do need to learn a lot more about them. I didn't really learn much in my synoptic meteorology classes, but there are tons of great resources online. I just need to get around to it. We can also look at things such as surface relative felicity, which kind of gives you an indication of whether or not tornadoes may be spinning up in that environment, and surface relative velocities are pretty good for the development of long-lasting tornadoes, which is why the National Weather Service or the SPC is considering upgrading a portion of that area to a high risk, depending on how the things work out. But yeah, there's going to be plenty of potential for severe storms tonight into tomorrow. So obviously be keeping track of that. And of course, keep those communities in mind. This is going to be the second round of severe storms in a row that they're going to be hit by. So I think last week there was something like over 60 confirmed tornado reports across both the 17th and the 18th. So obviously not great if you're living down there. But of course, if you're a storm chaser, you're probably going to be having a lot of fun. So that's severe weather set up for tomorrow. Let's see. I also wanted to talk about the weather challenge a little bit. First thing I want to do is I wanted to formally congratulate Anthony. If we look at the results for Greensboro, he came first place in the Category 3 forecasting category. Eighth place overall in the city as well. So he's going to be bringing home a trophy to Western Illinois University. Give a round of applause for Anthony.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that one. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. You came really close quite a few times, and so I'm glad you actually were finally able to get one.
Oh, I know, bud. I know, and it hurt every single time. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I've come close a couple of times too, but yeah, no, that's obviously great. No, not submit forecast. I wanted to look at cumulative results here. Let's see. We'll look at team standings here. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe at the beginning of last city, Western was ranked either 25th or 26th out of the 30 ranked teams. And then at the beginning of this next city, Jackson, Mississippi, we jumped all the way up to 21st. So that one city um, jumped us all the way up like 5 or 6 spots. So it's really good for us. We had a lot of forecasters well above national consensus for Greensboro and Raleigh, of course, before they changed the city. That was a really good city for us. And so we do still have one city left. That's obviously Jackson, Jackson, Mississippi is our city. So if we do really well again, there is an outside chance we could sneak into that top 16. It's not necessarily likely, but hey, we've had really good cities before and we could have it again. So yeah, if we do get into that top 16, then we would be competing for the team tournament. So that would be fun if we were able to do that. We could also look at cumulative results for just the school itself. And we have quite a few forecasters that are actually doing pretty well. Of course, Anthony tearing it up. He is a wild card spot here. We had a couple other forecasters like on the border of wild card spots in the tournament. I know I was in there, Brandon was in there, and I think Nate was there at one point too. So definitely make sure this last city counts because there is a chance that we could have multiple forecasters in the final tournament. I know last year we had quite a few forecasters that would have qualified, but then of course it was canceled due to COVID. But yeah, make sure you get your forecasts in on time. Make sure that you make the city a good one, and of course, just have fun forecasting. Let's see, just a couple other announcements before we get started with the presentation here. Obviously, selling Severe Weather Club t-shirts. The price is $20 per shirt, plus one for each X add-on to the size. If you're interested, contact me or email the Severe Weather Club email so we can arrange, order details and payment and that kind of thing. We're probably going to be accepting orders through the end of next club meeting. That'll be the March 31st, and then either that Thursday or Friday, I'll go ahead and submit that order to Custom Ink and get those shirts. Hopefully, we'll get them in around week 14 of the semester, so we can get them out before finals. But yeah, if you're interested, be sure to contact me. Your payments don't have to be due right away. Just make sure you get them in before we get the shipment in. A couple other things. Obviously, we got the Severe Storms Conference on Friday. Make sure if you're registered, go to that. And if you're not registered, it's only $10. It's pretty good. And of course, we have National Weather Service at DBN. They're also doing storm spotting classes. So make sure you get into one of those. Those are free. Only takes a couple hours of your time. But yeah, that's all the announcements I've got for this meeting. Does anyone have any questions?
Tomorrow, the conference starts at 1 for the radar workshop.
That's right. Do you have any ideas of how that's working? How they're going to run that?
No, not really. They were supposed to send out the Zoom links by now, but they haven't. It's kind of a cluster from what I'm understanding, so I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with it. They haven't sent out what to download, what we need, anything like that yet. So I'm not sure what to think about it. But they're supposed to be sending those Zoom links out shortly. So we'll see.
That's unfortunate, but yeah, the radar workshop is tomorrow, and then of course the conference itself is Friday. Tons of great speakers. But yeah, if there's no other comments, then I'll go ahead and hand it over to Anthony, who's got a presentation on GR3.
Okay, so it won't be a real formal presentation. I'm just kind of going to go through this, and because there actually is severe storms down in Texas right now. And tomorrow will be a high risk. I am 95% certain it will get upgraded. Okay, so to begin with, I'll go back to one panel. This is the format from GR Level 3. If you want to buy it, it is $80, but that does not come with Super Res data. Super Res data can be purchased through Allison House, which my subscription, I think, ends Saturday, so I'll be paying, I think it's $165 a year, but you get a whole bunch of stuff included in that. You get the Super Res data, you get these all these place files you see here. There's a whole bunch that I have on, some that I don't have on, but I'll talk about those later. You get all that with it. If you're going to use GR Level 3 out chasing, you definitely need the Super Res data. because without the super res data, there's a way I can turn it off, but I don't want to turn it off. It's really blotchy. It kind of stinks to use. Um, but yeah, this is kind of the outlook of it. At the top here, file, you can save your images, your window, radar, whatever you want to do. You can actually plug in a GPS unit that will track yourself wherever you are. It'll put a little dot on here. I don't have that yet. Thinking about getting it, but gonna wait a little bit for some more money. Most of these publishing, I don't really mess with too much. Import, you can import a whole bunch of things, and I'll get into these a little bit later on. All these place files and stuff. When we get over to the panels and windows section, I'll get into that. View. So this tab here, you can zoom in and out. I just typically use my scroll wheel, or on my laptop, I'll kind of just pinch in on the little pad thing. Here's Z time Zulu. So instead of this right corner here being actual time, you can click on this and it'll go into Zulu time. I use that sometimes, but not a lot. I'll typically keep it in Central Time or Eastern Time, whatever time, whatever, or Western. I've been in Colorado time zone before chasing, so in the Mountain time zone. So I'll kind of keep it on whatever's local typically. Animation settings, this is basically how fast you want your loops to go. So if you're wanting faster loops, you can do faster loops. If you don't want faster loops, you can make them slower. You can make the loops hold longer so you can look at them before it loops on to the next one. And then color table settings. This here I mess around with about once or twice a week. This is where you can change the colors to everything, which is a function that GR does really, really, really well. And I can actually show you this. Let me switch to base velocity here. I've messed around with this enough that it's just kind of painful. I actually have Rich's color settings, so I'll go to base velocity and I'll change this to his color tables. He actually made one of WIU colors, purple and yellow. It's kind of neat. This is it here. Not a whole lot of rotation in this storm down here, so we can't really see it a lot. Maybe right there. But that's his little thing. He doesn't use this at all, but he does have it. And so I typically use just ones that I found online, and they're everywhere. You can make your own, but it gets kind of complicated once you get into it. And I haven't really mastered it yet. But yeah, so color tables, you can change your color tables on about anything you wanted, from, reflectivity and stuff like that. I guess I should go over these tabs up here before I get into view. Once I finish view, I'll go more into these tabs. Icon settings, you can actually change the local storm reports icons. You can bring in your own. I don't mess with these. I pretty much use the ones down here that are default. I don't really deal with those, but the people that do. Melting layer settings, I have them turned off. It's just rings around the radar that show the melting layers and stuff. I don't deal with those too much, but you can if you wanted. NMD filter settings, I'm not really sure what this does. I don't ever use it, so I don't really mess with it. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on it. Smoothing settings, this is basically if you want your radar to be smoother. I actually have smoothing on, I think, right now, but that will just control how smoother you want your radar to be, which can be good or bad depending on the situation. More smoothness actually hurts you, believe it or not, than some of these pixels that are shown. You really want the pixels shown because that way it kind of it shows different contrasts in what you're seeing. But most of the time, I probably will use smoothing. Warning settings, I mess with these a lot. So snow squall is this blue line. And special marine is like a tealish, and then flash floods obviously is a green. Severe thunderstorm warnings, this yellow color. Tornado, I actually had to create this new tornado polygon with the white outline because this red outline here that you see, that's actually the MD that is over this area right now, and I'll show you that in a minute. Tornado reported, so if it's radar confirmed or been confirmed on the ground by someone, it'll turn into a purple polygon. And tornado emergency will be this black polygon with a white outline. You don't see that too often at all, but they are in here. So if that does happen, you will be able to see it. This warning server is basically where you can get your warnings from. COD is typically, the College 50 page is typically the fastest way you're going to get your warnings from severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, even the outlooks. The SPC outlooks come into COD much faster than they get uploaded to their own website. Just the way COD does things, and it's so much easier for them. Almost your warnings almost come up instantly, as long as you have service, of course, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just use those. A lot of people use different colors, which just confuses me. So I don't worry too much about other people. I try to keep mine to the Weather Service standards, which obviously you have the Weather Service colors over here and GR colors here, and you can click on one and you can actually edit it, whatever color you really wanted. So let me go back down here to logo. This is just the radar logo that would pop up on your computer. So down here on my bottom, it's this little WSR 88D radar frame or a picture of the radar, the radome. You can change that if you wanted to, or things like that. And so to go with these tabs, sight is just the radar sight, and I'll get more into that in a minute. BR is base reflectivity, BV base velocity, SRV is storm relative velocity, SW is spectrum width, ZDR is differential reflectivity, CC is correlation coefficient, KDP, I'm not 100% sure what that is. I've never used it. So I'm not sure what that is. Same goes with the HCA. I'm sure I've heard about it, but I don't remember what they are. So I don't really use them a whole lot. But I'm sure they're useful. I just don't know in what way they are useful. Rainfall, 1 hour, 3 hour, storm total. If I'm looking at a big event, I'll pull up storm total. Obviously, it's having an issue loading right now for storm total, but 1 hour rainfall, this is what it's saying here. And then an interesting thing about this 1 hour rainfall is if you actually hover your mouse over an area like this, it shows up down here where it says ND. So if you watch ND down here, I'm going to hover it over this area, and it says 1.37 is what the radar is depicting for that area. And the same way it goes with wind. You'll see your wind down here, and I'll actually bring that up right now. Wind 20, we'll go right here, 21.3 miles an hour is what the radar is detecting here. And that number to the right of the wind is the distance away from the radar beam, I believe. I'm thinking that's what it is. It's either the distance away from the radar beam or how high the radar is seeing above the storm. But I'm pretty certain it's the distance away from the radar. Because as I go down here, I'm on this radar. And it very well could just be the height it's seeing. I don't remember that off the top of my head. It's one or the other, but I don't remember which one it is. Then obviously down here at the bottom, you've got your lat and your long, how many meters per pixel you're seeing, and then I don't know what the av set and the sales mean exactly. And I can't see exactly what is underneath here because of the, that is your, what degree you are away from the radar and how many nanometers. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's there for a reason. I just don't know what that reason is. Okay, so to move back up here, let's see. We go into derived echo tops, really important and useful whenever you're out storm chasing to see how, or storm watching or whatever you're going to be doing with storms to see how tall they are. Another very useful product from this. So right here, if you look back down in this little where the wind and the rain were, this says it's 42,000 feet is its height right now, which is not bad. A little low top, but not bad. Let me go to GIS. GIS is huge in this because you can actually load in shapefiles. You can load in road shapefiles for every state and have them. You can see every road that would be on here. But let me tell you, if you do that, it's going to lag a little bit because it's going to take time to redraw all the roads again every time you move the mouse. So if you're going to move the mouse like this, you'd be lagging. And things like that. So I have some on here, but they're never really on. I don't deal with them a whole lot because it's not what I want to do. Show base roads. So if I turn show base roads off, it takes off all the roads that you would be able to see, which stinks. Same way with counties. If I turn this off, all the blue lines would go away, which you need those county lines. States, same thing. Background. I typically don't show the background. You can if you want, if you like this little imagery. I typically keep it dark. I just think it makes things look better a little bit. Show county names. If you want the county names, you can show. Obviously, show city names, show radar sites. Settings, you can switch so much stuff around with this. You can change the county fonts. You can change the city fonts, city thresholds. I don't really know what that does or any really what some of these do, but you can change so much. Background color, I can switch it off of black to like a yellow or blue, which doesn't really do me any good. Landsat colors, I think that is actually the actual background. I'm not real sure. And AIP colors, I should know what that means, but I don't off the top of my head.
National
I
Agricultural Imagery Program.
see. There
It's
you
just,
go.
it's just aerial imagery.
There you go. Okay, so yeah, I knew I've heard it before. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I'm glad he knows. So good. Yeah, so you can mess with those. There's so much you can do with this. Let me get into panels. This here will show you one panel is what we are in right now. Two panels will show you two different things. And typically when I'm out in the field, I'll do 4 panels. I'll have something like base reflectivity in this one. I'll have base velocity in this one. In this one, I'll typically do correlation coefficient. And in this one, I would do echo tops to see how tall they are. I would typically, this is what mine looks like out in the field. I will have this up and running at all times, constantly looking. Slight rotation here, obviously right now, maybe a little bit of a shear line. Maybe not so much rotation itself, but it's possible. I know they just issued a warning on it. They canceled it. They're still monitoring that. And yeah, you can do this. You can save panels as favorite one too, which I probably should do because I don't. They have preset panels for you. If you want preset, you want base reflectivity and storm relative velocity, cool, click it. If you want all these other ones, you can click it and it would bring it up. So if I wanted this, boom, brought it up. So that's what I've got right now. But I don't typically do that, so I don't really, I just kind of pull up my own. I need to save the panels and my favorites, to be honest, but I don't. Okay, so going to Windows, show data opacity window. So basically, if you're not at 100, you can basically turn your data all the way off. Or if you want it to be slightly there, you can. Obviously, most people are going to keep it at 100. Place file manager. Okay. So this here is this is the reason why you get GR level 3. All of these are different place files. So if I zoom out here, I'm going to go back to one panel. So if I zoom out, mesoscale discussions, panel or place file right here, have it on. If I go down here, FAA METAR stations, all these white blobs, all these METARs, that's a place file. Spotter network reports, these right here, place files. And the reason I like these is because I can see who made this report. So right here, Hail by Alec Scholten, I can see who made these from Spotter network. I can tell, do I know this guy? Is it credible? Is it worth going to check out? So that's something I really like with that. You can actually have the full spotter network on, so you can actually see where in the world everyone is if they have their spotter network on, which if I'm chasing, I do. So you'll be able to see where I am. A whole bunch of people looks like are on this storm, checking it out right now near Hamilton. I don't really have those on a lot because it gets kind of cluttered. You can also have goes lightning. So if you turn this on, be able to see where the lightning is. Purple's cloud to ground. No, purple's not cloud to ground. Purple means there's been a lot there. Red also means a lot there, I think. I think that's what those mean. But I'm not 100% sure on that one. I can turn on surface fronts if I wanted to. There's so many things. SPC watch boxes. So there's my tornado watch. New tornado warning up here. We'll check that out in a minute. I can turn on day 1 convective outlook. I can turn on day 1 probability. All of these are available from the Allison House thing, besides a few. These ones here are not. Red Team Weather, I did not get those from Allison House. I got those from a different website. FAA, METAR, I got from Allison House. Spotter Network, got it from Spotter Network, the website itself. And there's so many other things that you can download that's just incredible that you can put in here that would help you. The METARs are just amazing. They update every 5 minutes if available. Some of them don't update every 5 minutes, but if they're ASOS ones, they do. If they're AWAS, they don't. But really, really incredible and useful information from these place files. There's so many, like I said. You can get ocean buoy place files. You can get, oh my goodness, a lot of hurricane place files. You can get so many that it's worth the money, honestly. And I'd rather have these to save my life if I'm not there anyway. So I'll pay the money gladly to have these place files. Let's see, Windows. Okay, Storm Attributes window. You can actually click on this, and it'll tell you what it thinks. If it's a TVS, that's a tornado velocity signature. I think it'll tell you, if a storm it thinks will have it. It'll tell you. Hail, I believe, is right here. Talks about the size of the hail. And then here, height. I believe that's how high the base is. I don't really know a whole lot about this because I don't use it a lot. Probably top of the storm. It's moving 232 degrees at 23. That's probably not. So it's moving not too fast. Whatever storm this is, I don't know if it's this one or not. But yeah, that's useful occasionally. Some people really rely on that. I don't so much, but some people do. But okay, so the most important thing that I use when I'm out here, and one of the great reasons to use this is VWP, the vertical wind profile window, which comes from the radar itself. So with this, you can actually see what the winds are doing according to the radar. And so here we can see that we have extremely backed winds at the surface or close to the surface, and they are varying with height as we go along, which would produce those elongated photographs that we want to see. They look like fairly strong too. These don't look like too weak. I mean, that's 10, 15 knots in there. So that's impressive. You see this and you're out on a big day. That's really what you want to see. Typically, it'll go all the way up, but I haven't been on this radar too long, so it probably won't for this. But this is one of the most important tools that you can have out there. It'll tell you, if your window of opportunity is passed as far as seeing a tornado. If you need to get further east, need to get further north, further south, it'll tell you. So this is a very, very important window to utilize within this program. Show warnings window. So if I click on this, every warning that's active is going to show up. Tell me what type of warning, what state, the counties, when does it expire. You can actually click on these, I think, and bring up I think it's right click. You right click on them and it brings up the warning. So there's tornado warning up there, and then this is how the warnings are look, and it's pretty much like a normal warning you would see. It just comes into text. The good thing about this is if you see this cursor, if you wanted to type in anything and send it off to somebody, you can actually type in whatever you want. So, I mean, you can send it off and copy it and paste it somewhere, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to put it, with your own little title on it, which is kind of cool. So let's see. So that's that. Let's actually take a gander at this one real fast. Yeah, a little bit right there. Let's see what it looked like a little bit ago. Hang on here. Well, I'll get into that in a minute, I guess. Keyboard help just tells you, a little help guide, user guide. Test internet connection. If you think your internet's bad, you want to test it, check it out. About, this is, everything tells you what package you're on. Anything about the software itself will be located in here. I'm on software 2.91. 3.0 should be coming out soon, I think. Maybe within a year or two, hopefully. I don't really know what they're going to do different, but I hope it is because it seems pretty fun. Okay, so then we go down to the next bar below it. So this bar here took me a little bit to figure out what was actually going on here. So these looks like paper stacked on top of each other. If you click on a new radar, so let's say I click on the Oklahoma radar, I can't go back in time and see anything. I can't hit play. I can't do anything. But if I click on these three little papers, that downloads my recent data. And so now I can click on it and it'll show. And it'll switch the METARs and everything else as it would as if it was real time. And so that's what's really cool about this. You can do that with that one. I'm going to go back down here because this is a storm of interest. But that with that, and then what this little earth with the X does, if you click on that, you will actually shut off your radar feed. You will not pull any more information from wherever you're getting your radar information from. I think default it comes from College of DuPage, but obviously I have mine set up with Allison House, so I don't really ever hit that. And then if you do hit that, you have to click on the earth to the left of the paper to look at things to get it going again. And you would tell it where to search or where to pull its data from. And then like these little arrows here, obviously you'd hit play to play. We can actually see, let's download recent data here and see why this, okay, well, obviously we saw why it was issued, right? Let's go back a little bit here. I probably saw it about right here, and we're like, okay, that looks pretty nifty. Sway to the scan or two. Okay, okay. Still somewhat there. A little bit. Let's issue the warning, and then boom, there it comes. Maybe a little late, but in real time, that's probably pretty hard forecast to make there with that warning. And so you can hit play up here. If you hit the space bar also plays it for you. And then your arrows control forward and backwards if you want to do that. Always make sure that you're on the latest run though, because I do that a lot. I'm like, well, this looks really good. Then I realize, oh, that was 20 minutes ago. I messed up. So yeah, make sure that you're on the latest run. And these little here, these are zoomers, so you can actually zoom in. I don't mess with these a whole lot. You can click on them as much as you want, zoom out as much as you want, or hit this to go to the full thing. It's kind of like an arc map if you guys have used it. Same type of thing. I don't think you can draw on these too much per se like an arc map, but it's the same thing really. I mostly use my scroll wheel to maneuver back and forth, but you don't have to. And so here's the smoothing option I was talking about. And so I actually can't do it with this. I need to go. Oh no, I added that one to my favorites. That's okay. So if I click on the smoothing, here's what it looks like not smooth compared to smooth. Most cases you probably want it not smooth. You would really want it looking this little pixelated thing here to kind of get a little bit more storm details, but pixelating it doesn't do much harm either. Either way is fine. Just whatever you're more comfortable with and using, use it. This here, you can actually turn off radar data. If you don't want to use data, just turn it off. And things like that. And this next layer is the melting layer. So there's those rings I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier. They don't really do a whole lot in the summertime. In the wintertime, you can actually use them to figure out, where the melting layer is. Is it close by? Is it not? And there's a whole bunch of science behind that I don't understand a whole lot yet. But they are there if you wanted to use them. Storm tracks, you can actually turn on the storm tracks. And with these, if you go where it initiates at, it'll pull up, the speed. So this one here is moving at 24 knots at 225 degrees, which is pretty much northeast, northeast. And it's topped out at 36,300 feet with a base of 8,300 feet. Now that there, I don't know how accurate that all is. I basically look at this just for the speed. And then it gives you a DBZ value of 67, which seems pretty legitimate in these higher cores. Yeah, 68 is the highest I see. But that's that there. I don't use it a whole lot. Basically, I can kind of tell where it's going. But if I'm kind of wondering, where is it going, I will turn that on. These are hail icons. So if it thinks it's hailing, you can turn those on. Hail E3, percent of hail, 100% size, 2.5 inches, which I believe that's golf ball size or bigger, 2.5. That's definitely bigger than golf ball size, I think. That's pretty big. 2.5-inch hail is what it's saying. This one here, an inch hail, that's quarters, and half-inch hail over here. I don't use these a whole lot, just because it's all radar indicated, so that's not actually what's happening. Chances are, unless there's reports coming out, and then I kind of compare back and forth. And so NMD, I don't use NMD a whole lot. I don't really know what it does, so I don't use these icons. I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I don't typically use it. But this one here is tornado velocity signature icon. Don't have any storms right now with that, but it is useful. Some people actually use that TVS signature. They say, hey, it's got a TVS sig, look out. And I'm just like, okay. And then I don't really do much with that information, but it is there if you want to use it. LSR, local storm reports, all these hail reports here that come into the National Weather Service that get put up here, you can turn those off and on. I keep them on typically. This T here shows you precipitation type. I use this in the winter. So in the winter, you'll have your snow in these bluish colors. Orangish colors are going to represent heavy rain. No, that's actually maybe ice in the oranges. I don't remember off the top of my head what all these are. Obviously, um, the reds and the greens and the blues are heavy rain, and I believe that. Oh no, the orangish colors are sleet. That's what it is. And the reds are the ice. Like I said, a winter product. So if you're out in the winter, very very useful to use that. I do for the most part. Panel center, I don't even know what that means. Never used it, but it is there if it ever does pop up. I don't really know exactly what for. Then over here are actually where you can turn off and on the warnings that you get. So snow squall warning, I have it off because I don't really care too much about snow squalls. Special marine warning, if you're on the coast, you would have special marine warnings. Um, if you're out there, so if you're on the coast, you would have that turned on. Flash flood warnings, typically there's a crap ton of flash ton warnings, so I don't mess with them. I turn them off because I don't want to see them all unless it's in my area. Then I'm interested. A severe thunderstorm warning. So if I turn that off, you wouldn't see those warnings there. But I typically have it on. Same way with tornado warnings. Tornado reported. That's the TORR, and then TORE is tornado emergency. Like I said, you don't see those a lot um, in this program unless it's a really bad deal for somewhere, which does happen. And this little brownish grayish box, that's just an advisory. It's a storm advisory. I can't think of the actual name of it right now, but yeah, these are just little advisories that get issued, telling you strong storms coming. I can actually find out what it is. Can't think of it off the top of my head. Significant weather advisories. That's what it is. Okay. But yeah, so that's that. And there, I mean, you can do so much with this. And then obviously, as you go up here, you've got your different tilts as well in the radar. You got your reflectivity 0.5, which is what most people use. Closest to the ground is 0.5. Same way with all of these, you've got all of your elevations. Like I said, most people are going to use 0.5 on all of these unless you're really below ground, which most radars are not. Most of them are high enough that they can see above the obstacles. And then I guess I could show you, if you right click, you can place markers. So if I placed a marker there, I don't really know how to use that yet because I don't know where exactly I'm supposed to do with a marker. I can remove the marker. I can measure from radar, which is what this down here does, I think, the 6.3. So that's what it is. It's measurement from the radar. I thought it was that, but I wasn't sure. Short range rings, if you want to see the range rings of the radar. I don't typically have those on, but you can have them on if you wanted. But yeah, so really that's about this program in a nutshell. As far as updates go, depending on the type of storm system and how fast the Weather Service wants to get their updates, some will come out in as fast as 1 minute and 30 seconds, and some will come out as slow as 3 to 4 minutes, and even slower on some of them if they're just getting started. So that's really up to the Weather Service. That's the way with velocity and reflectivity. The other products typically take a lot longer to come out, and sometimes on really, really high event days, you might not get echo top readings because they're going to turn it off to where they don't really care what's going on in the upper atmosphere anymore. They want to see what's close to the surface because it's a big day. So that does happen. That's not often, but it is out there. So that's GR3. Do you guys have any questions for me whatsoever?
Just a quick one to verify. So the $80 you pay is for access to the GR3 software, right? And then
Correct.
you pay extra money to organizations like Allison House to get improved resolution data or extra place files, that kind of thing.
Yes. So
Okay.
if you wanted this, you would go. The website looks kind of like it's something that would scam you, but it's not. To purchase it, you would click on this here, and this would take you to this page, Geo Level 3 2.0. And eventually that's 2.0, but I think if you download that, you can actually get the update. It updates by itself. And if it doesn't update by itself, there's also a user group right here that I'm in. So the latest update's 2.92. I haven't updated that one yet. But this group here is really good about responding. And the good thing is, even if you switch computers, if you get a new computer, you shouldn't have to rebuy this software. If you go back on here, go to About, whenever you do this, you actually have a key. And I don't know if they save it to you or send it to you when you buy it, but you can also request it. So if I go back up to this forum, I might have to log back in. Nope, I don't. If you go back into this forum somewhere down here, maybe it was in GR3 support topics. Somewhere in here, there is a, I can't find it right now, but there is a panel in here that if you've lost your key to put it in here and they will send you the key again. So that's really nice. So yeah, you will never have to buy the software again once you buy it once, is my understanding. As far as Allison House goes, you would go, you would click on this. This is their main page. Well, I would log in. But if you go to pricing, you would want you can also do it by month. If you don't want to do it the whole year, you can do it by month and it saves you $15. Saves you $15 a year if you buy it a whole year and instead of paying by month. So instead of it being 180, it's 165 is what you end up paying. I buy yearly. I know Rich, you guys know Rich Sample, he buys monthly. It's really whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I would not recommend going into Storm Hunter unless you're really doing some incredible stuff. Most of you guys would probably be very, very well off with the Storm Chaser. And if I click on View Subscription Details, you get, like I said, all of this stuff. You can even bring in satellite imagery. I don't because I'm always looking at either Nesdist or COD satellite imagery, so I don't bring that place file in, but you can if you wanted to. And there's so much stuff, and I'll actually show you all of the place files. So if I log in, here is all of the place files. Gibson Ridge is what you would click on. Oh, that's radar. No, this is them. So all of these red things are place files from Allison House. All of these are place files you can add in if you really wanted to. If you wanted to add in these, go right ahead. Whatever you want to do, that's up to you. All of these are available. And there's so much more from other websites that people have found useful. And you can actually go to that forum, and there's some in there too that people have made that they thought were useful and are actually really useful. But I haven't taken the time to go through all of them and actually figure that out yet. But yeah, so this is not Radar Scope, but this is Allison House. And even if you buy Allison House, you can transfer that into Radar Scope. You get the MDs in Radar Scope, and you get something else in Radar Scope. But the MDs are really important for Radar Scope. Instead of having to come up and go somewhere else searching, they pop up on the Radar Scope. They're a blue little polygon, which is really nice, and I use them all the time. But there is other Gibson Ridge software out there. So if you are doing the radar part of the conference tomorrow, they're going to use GR2A, and I'll actually search up GR2A here. It's a lot different than well, not a lot. The main thing is volumetric, which is just it scans the atmosphere and you can see where debris is lofted, how high it was lofted, things like that. So here's volumetric right here. If you were to have GR2A, this is the main difference, and that's why it costs a little bit more, and things like that. So if you wanted to buy it, GR2A, it's $250, which is why I didn't buy it. Maybe I should have bought it, but in the end, I said I don't want to spend that much money at this time, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it is $250 if you wanted to go this route. So it's really up to you. Like I said, the main difference is just this volumetric. there might be a few tweaks here and there that are different. So let's see what we got here. So super res you would get. Actually, you might get super res with your subscription. I don't know about that. Instead of paying Allison House, you might get your subscription to super res with this, which has its ups and downs. Allison House is still really useful to have. High resolution derived products, that's, like it says, Ecotop, still pull data. Well, that's obvious now. Cross sections, which is pretty much just volumetric stuff within this, within the volumetric display. You might be able to have access to level 2 archive data, severe weather warnings, of course, local storm reports, sure, ultra high resolution background imagery, which you get. So basically, like I said, the main difference is the cross sections and volumetric display. And like you might be able to get super res data with it included, and might be why it's more expensive. I don't really know, but I know that most research is done on GR2As, and for meteorologists like us, we don't need the GR2As unless you wanted to research, or unless you feel like buying it, which is fine. I'm not going to judge you either way. I mean, I still think about buying it every now and then. But yeah, so that's the main difference in GR2A compared to GR3. Is there any other questions? Because that's about all I've got with that. Like I said, I just kept rambling on and on and on, but I'm pretty good at that. As you guys know, I don't really have a shut up quality in me. So
Nah, no, this is a great presentation. If there's no other comments or questions or concerns, then we can go ahead and end this meeting. I think next week I'll probably do a presentation on minors. I know, Anthony, last semester you did a great presentation on stuff that meteorology majors should look out for in terms of courses and that kind of thing. So I kind of wanted to augment that and talk about minor options as well that young meteorology majors might want to do here. But yeah, that's all for this meeting. I'll see you guys all next week.
bye, bye everybody, bye friends.